CKay went from running away from home at age 19 with nothing to his name, having to squat with a friend, and working as a producer in 5 different studios for a couple of years before ever dropping a single, to becoming a worldwide celebrity with multiple platinum singles all over the world.
I mean, I would say for sure in my situation, belief
Yeah.
was key. It has
Yeah.
always been key, and consistency,
So many people tend to second guess themselves in life when it gets to making lifelong decisions. Some start but don't finish. Some others tend to dream too much without actually going heads on into making those dreams come into reality, while others never even think at all, which is the worst case scenario. But in the case of CKay, he never really cared about the odds which were stacked against him before he even started taking risk. On today's video, I'll be talking about the unexpected rise of CKay's career and why he holds TikTok by the throat but doesn't like it. Do well to like and subscribe to this channel as it will really help us grow. And let's get back to the video. We can't deep dive into CKay's career without looking back into his upbringing, as that has played a big role in his style of music and his sex appeal to the ladies. Chukwuka Ekuanyi, popularly known as CKay, born 16th July 1995, was born in Kaduna into a family who loved music. His parents were both medical practitioners, but still dabbled into music as his dad was the choir master in his Anglican church he attended and had a vast knowledge on how to play the piano. That was how he learned from him. He learned from his dad how to even read musical symbols. He was a really smart guy. He was a really calm kid growing up who loved staying indoors, and that was why the moment he met his elder brother's best friend, Emmanuel, who knew how to make beats, he quickly grew likeness for the craft of making beats too. Also, CKay was a straight A student whose parents wanted to either study engineering or medicine just like them. Going back to how he learned how to produce music and make beats, after just one learning session from Emmanuel, he had to carry on the learning process all on his own, as Emmanuel didn't give him a time of day anymore. No hard feelings though, as he still respects Emmanuel till this day, as he said in one of his interviews with the Afrobeat podcast with Adeshokwe.
How did you learn to produce?
Okay, so it was around, I think when I just got into secondary school. So there was this old friend of he was my elder brother's friend actually.
Yeah.
He wasn't even my friend. So I always used to hang out with my elder brother who was like 6 years older than me. So his best friend, his name was Emmanuel. So after they graduated from my school, I hadn't seen him in like 4 or 5 years. So my parents, we moved to a new house, and he turns out to be our neighbor.
Wow.
So, we linked up and we're just catching up, and he was like, he played me music that he was making. I'm like, whoa, you made this? Like, he made a beat and he was so good. And I'm like, I can't believe you made these beats with this computer. It's a lie. Like, you mean you didn't play bass, you didn't play keyboard, you didn't play everything. Like, you just sat down and made these beats. And he was like, yeah. So I'm like, okay, bro, you got to teach me.
Wow.
Or else we'll fight. So he taught me the basics. But the funny thing is, after he taught me, he just went AWOL. So he didn't like see it through to the end. So I had to like, after that first lesson, I was kind of left hanging. So I had to learn the rest on my own. I had to go online. In fact, at that time, At that time, internet in Niger was so slow that
Long.
you couldn't really stream YouTube at that time. So it was articles I learned from.
Wow.
Not really videos. It was articles.
So he had to motivate himself by advancing on his small knowledge he already had and started studying different materials in order to get a hang of it. According to him, he couldn't even afford a production mic, so he had to get a headset and use it as his mic instead. All these further show the hurdles he had to go through to get to where he is today. Most times after success, people would consider it as an overnight action, diminishing the hard work that was being put into the process behind closed doors. He even had to learn how to play the guitar, all on his own, reading books, and added all these external qualities into music production process. But you need to understand that at this time, he had already knew about how wonderful his voice was, but he needed to learn to produce by himself, as he never wanted to depend on others when he wanted to make his own type of music, which he refers to or calls the emo Afrobeat.
You say you're the first emo Afrobeats artist.
Absolutely.
Chest.
I love that. Not even like, well, I haven't heard of anyone before. You just
No,
like,
no, he
absolutely.
said
I mean,
chest
I
and chest there.
practically came up with the name Emo Afrobeats.
Right, okay.
So, yeah.
When next man start doing it, how's that gonna feel?
I pioneered something and
Right,
someone
right.
else is doing it. That's pretty cool.
What about when they don't give you no credit?
Do they have to give me credit?
Well, I was just about to say that.
I don't
Because
think
it's
so.
like,
Do you know Fela Kuti? Okay, so you know he's the originator of Afrobeats, practically. So everyone else who's been making Afrobeats since Fela, whether they acknowledge it or not, it does not stop Fela from being the originator of Afrobeats. In fact, emo Afrobeats is kind of me building upon what he built
right, okay.
and taking it to like my own specific zone.
That was almost gospelish.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was
Like, I
deep.
feel like I should click my.
If you don't know, other artists that have these same sounds are the likes of Omah Lay, Khalid, and the list even goes longer than this. Breaking down the term emo Afrobeat, emo is a subculture sprouted from fans of emotional hardcore or emo-core, a style of punk rock in the 1980s. Emo-core music is known for its loud, confessional, expensive, and emotional characteristics. In lighter terms, we can call it the heartbreak song. Now, mixing it with Afrobeat sound, we get the emo Afrobeat. This type of sound is generally accepted all around the world, which in turn shows how easily CKay caught the attention of the world, even in places that don't understand a word he says, as his song is majorly in Pidgin and Igbo language. He was so good at beat production that he even started producing for people in his secondary school that were into music making. Funny enough, his school never allowed bringing gadgets to school, so he had to sneak them in. In 2014, after he graduated secondary school, while his mates were planning on getting into university, he jumped off the porch and left Kaduna for Lagos State with the goal of advancing his craft and meeting the right people to help him grow up. Talking about calculated moves, this is the height of it. For a young guy of his age,
I moved to Lagos in 2014, and that's when I ran away from home. And basically, when I came here, I kind of had a plan. I had like a master plan, so I could produce and I could write, So at that point, that was what I had to offer. So I had to do that for a while, Yeah, I think I was 19
God damn it.
or so. Yeah, I think I was 19. I mean, it was crazy. Like I was on the plane, and when I was on the plane, I was like, I don't know, something was telling me this plane would crash.
So, going back to my initial premise, while he was in Lagos, he had to squat with a friend of his while working in 5 different studios, which he either produced or mixed music, as he was very proficient in both. Luckily for him, one of the studios he worked in was Chocolate City Studios. The exposure really helped him. While he produced for others in the studio, he was already producing his own music on the side. He was in the shadows for so long, but never gave up on his dreams. In early 2019, he produced his best performing single till date, Love Wanting Tea, while sitting in his couch. He never thought that song will really connect with the audience up to that level.
Love wanting to means a little bit of love.
Okay.
So basically, I was literally in, my living room in Victoria Island, Lagos, Nigeria. I was chilling with my friends, my manager, and I was in front of my computer, like, as usual, making a beat. Then I made this beat and I just freestyled on it. Like, this was close to midnight. And in my mind, I was going to replace the with like words in the morning, because it was like a drop. So I woke up in the morning and I heard it and it was just perfect to me. So I'm like, nah, I'm not replacing it. And everyone, felt the same way.
The song was then released later on that same year under the EP CKay the First. In my investigations in making these videos, I've noticed that most artists name their first album or EP after themselves, and that's a good marketing strategy to help boost their recognition amongst fans. Artists like Rema and Ayastar also did this. So back to the topic, the EP CKay the First had 8 songs under its belt, which did well relatively, but can't be compared to the success of Love Wanting Tea, as it went both gold and platinum in so many countries. Even with the help of social media, it broke into Asian airways, something no one could have ever thought about. Social media, or maybe TikTok, was one of the major tools that helped globalize CKay's music. It was like he slept at night and woke up the next day to become a superstar, in CKay's case. In 2021, he dropped his second EP, Boyfriend. This EP, containing 7 tracks, with songs like Felony, Kiss Me Like You Miss Me, went on to do extremely well. By my own discretion, I would give the album a 7.5. It was relatively very okay. Fans fell in love with him so much, especially the ladies. Collaborations started coming from left, right, and center. Till today, the number of illegal remixes for his songs are crazy. I would even say his numbers are the most crazy when it comes to illegal remixes. And yet, all of the illegal remixes tend to do very well. I didn't even mention singles like Emiliana, What Are We, featuring Davido, garnering millions of views and streams. His numbers are mind-blowing. According to him, after remixing Love Wanting Tea with Joe Boy and Kwame Eugene, a Ghanaian artist, on Valentine's Day of 2020, just a month after its release, the popularity of the song went skyrocketing. But the most prominent shift in his career occurred when the famous Canadian fashion model Winnie Harlow requested his song on Didi's Life.
There was a particular one by a DJ from Mauritius, DJ Yo. So he took the acoustic from YouTube and he put drums on it and he uploaded it. he didn't. I mean, apparently he was trying to reach out to us. Funny enough, I found this out later on that he actually tried, but his DM got lost in a sea of DMs. So, unfortunately, but he just put it out, and I'm glad he did. To be honest, even though it wasn't legal, but I'm glad he did. He believed in it and he put it out, and it went viral. Everyone loved it, and it's kind of led to a series of trends. Like there was a dance trend, there was a this thing where people were showing their ages, their star sign, their country. There was that. There was another dance trend. There was just a series of different independent trends on TikTok
That had nothing to do. People just took it upon themselves.
They took it upon themselves.
Now, some people feels he make music for TikTok alone, owning the fact that his biggest songs are that big because of TikTok dances and challenges. And this particular narrative he doesn't like at all, because he considers that they are always of deep leaning meanings behind his songs, and so it shouldn't be commonized as a TikTok trend song alone.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Right, you're a real artist. And are you still having to combat that? Like, is that still a stigma that you're constantly having to dismiss? Not that anything's wrong with social media. We love all the checks, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even see it as a stigma. I just think it's misinformation, you know, or people not just being aware. Like TikTok is literally an app with people. It's not livestock on there. It's human beings. So like, I mean, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Twitter, it's literally human beings on there. So if people like music, they like music. Like Love Wanting Tea was the #1 song on Instagram as well. As TikTok, as well as Snapchat, as well as every other app.
It's a list. Come on now.
It's a list. So like people, anyone who says TikTok, TikTok song is clearly uninformed. So I mean, I'll just inform you any chance I get.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now note that TikTok songs are usually categorized as low IQ songs, and as both the artists and the songs that are made for TikTok audiences tends not to last the test of time.
You know what's funny? I feel like my song is really, really appreciated on TikTok. Like all my music, actually, not just Love Wanting Tea. But I'm not even as much of a TikTok person as many people would think.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
But CK's case tends to be an exception, because his songs actually have deep meanings and they are always evergreen, despite it being of probably TikTok origins to most audiences that listen to them. Now, CKay will go on to rack up so much accolades for the unique work he has put into the arts since 2017. In 2021, he won the Mosaico Music Award with his popular song Love Wanting Tea for Best African Song of the Year. In 2022, CKay had his first headline performance in London. DJ Yo's version of Love Wanting Tea turned out to become #1 on Global Shazam for 2 months after CKay reclaimed it as it was produced illegally. And as well, in 2024, he had also released his new album, and his first album as well, Emotions. CKay's rise to fame is the classic story of consistency and not giving up on your dreams even if the odds are against you. His job in the industry isn't done yet, as he still has more to cover. Hopefully, the TikTok issue doesn't cloud his judgment when he puts on his creative hat to create more music. The sky is just the beginning for him. Thanks for watching. Please support the channel by subscribing, and catch you on the next one.